Shalom, welcome to the Jewish Task Force, JTF. I'm Chaim Ben Pesach. Hillary Saddam Clinton, when she was the so-called First Lady of the United States, used her power and her influence to censor the programs of the Jewish Task Force on a local Manhattan cable television station. We'll tell you the story about this and about the fascistic tactics which the Clintons employ when they run for political office. But first I want to give you a little background on what happened and why our program was important. The Jewish Task Force, JTF, has had programs on cable television in New York City for years. We had it on in Manhattan, we have it on in Queens. We're no longer on in Manhattan. It's not even worth it for us because of the advent of the internet. We now are doing better on the internet. But at one time, we were on in Manhattan and in Queens. We had very large audiences. Rush Limbaugh said on his program that he watches us every Sunday night when we were on Sunday night. In fact, we were opposite 60 Minutes, and Rush Limbaugh said, "I will never watch 60 Minutes again after seeing that great show." So we had people like Rush Limbaugh watching our show, and many important people watched the program. In addition to that, Michael Musto, who was the critic for the E! Channel and for the Village Voice, for the left. I mean, this is a left-wing critic and a very prominent critic in the news media, in the mass media. Michael Musto said that our programs, the programs of the Jewish Task Force, were the most riveting programs on cable television. He doesn't even agree with anything we stand for, and he said we had the most riveting programs on cable television. So we had big audiences, and we were really influencing things. And it helped us build a movement and an organization. And one of the things we did in the year 2000 was fight against Hillary Clinton when she was running for the United States Senate in New York. At first, in the year 2000, it looked like there was going to be a close race for the U.S. Senate because Rudy Giuliani was running against Hillary Clinton. Rudy Giuliani, the popular mayor of New York City, was running against her at first. Eventually, he dropped out of the race because he was diagnosed with cancer. So eventually he dropped out. But if he had run against her, it would have been a close race. Now, having said that, she was concerned because she had problems among Jewish voters. Now, Jews generally, unfortunately, vote overwhelmingly Democrat. So she needed the Jewish vote in order to win. And many Jews were against her because she has a long history of being an anti-Semite. All her life she has called people Jew bastards. She used to call her husband the big Jew bastard. She called her former campaign her husband's former campaign manager in 1974 a dirty Jew bastard and a dirty Jew. I mean, she is a notorious anti-Semite. There are many witnesses to her anti-Semitism. She has always been anti-Israel. She has always supported the Arab terrorists who want to destroy Israel and has always been anti-Israel and an Israel-bashing beast. And whatever the reason is, I could go and we've discussed this on other programs. There are reasons why she's an anti-Semite. I don't care what the reasons are. She hates the Jewish people. She hates Israel. So she had problems with Jewish voters. And so she wanted to convey a message that would enable her to pick up Jewish votes in her campaign, because in New York politics, the Jewish vote is very important. In June of the year 2000, you had the Salute to Israel parade. Every June, sometimes it's in May, it depends, but usually it's in June of every year, you have what's called the Salute to Israel parade down Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. And she intended to march in the Salute to Israel parade with all the big Democrat politicians, all the Jew boys and other self-hating Jewish traitor pigs in Democrat politics, all of whom are traitors to the Jewish people. Jews should never vote for Jewish politicians. The Jews in politics in America are all traitors, and you should never vote for the Jewish candidate. If you really care about Israel and love the Jewish people, you should never vote for the Jewish candidate. But anyway, all these corrupt, sleazy Jewish politicians like that swine Sheldon Silver and the Jewish congressman, the Gary Ackerman-type pigs, they were going to march with her in the Israel Day parade and supposedly put a stamp of kashrut, a stamp of kosher, on that pig, Hillary Clinton, who has always been a Jew hater and an Israel basher. She wants to destroy Israel. Her and her husband proposed a plan in the year 2000 that would have led to the destruction of Israel, God forbid. Thank God the PLO terrorist Yasser Arafat rejected the plan. That's what saved Israel from self-destructing. But anyway, she was going to march in the parade in the year 2000, and she did. And all the big, prominent, self-hating Jewish establishment leaders and the Jewish politicians marched with her and showed their support for her. So it was going to be an event that was going to help her. It was going to be a big public relations boost for her. JTF on our programs told people to go to that parade. And we heckled her. We were there. We were all along the parade. And we heckled her. We followed her, and we heckled her the whole time. And other people in the crowd started booing her as well. Other Jews who were there started booing her as well. And so the media reported that she had a very hostile reception. A lot of heckling, a lot of booing, people calling her Jew hater at her parade. So it turned into a disaster. What was supposed to be a big public relations boost for her turned into a public relations catastrophe. And it actually hurt her standing with Jewish voters. So she decided she can't tolerate this anymore. So what did she do? Remember, she was the so-called First Lady. She disgraced the office of First Lady at that time. And she called up the borough president of Manhattan, who was in charge of public access cable for Manhattan, which is called Manhattan Neighborhood Network. She called up the borough president of Manhattan, who was an affirmative action joke, a moron. And she called her up and asked her to pull our programs off the air, which is completely illegal, by the way. We have a First Amendment right to say whatever we want and to oppose her. We have a First Amendment right to do that, and she illegally interfered with that, as did the borough president of Manhattan, whose name was Virginia Fields. Thankfully, she's no longer. She was defeated overwhelmingly. She ran for mayor. She was a joke. She has an IQ of in the single digits. I mean, she's completely retarded. But because she's black, she got elected borough president of Manhattan, and she was treated respectfully only because she's black. She has zero qualifications, zero intelligence. She's a brainless peanut size. She has a brain the size of a peanut. She's a complete moron, but she got elected because she's black. Just like Barack Hussein Obama is a moron who cannot answer any questions, knows nothing about history, knows nothing about issues. Just because he's black, he's being taken seriously as a candidate for president. That's what this country has come to. But anyway, Hillary Saddam Clinton called up Virginia Fields and asked her to pull the program off. That was on the Sunday of the Israel Day Parade. The very next day, Monday, the very next day after we heckled her at the parade, Manhattan Neighborhood Network announced to us that they're pulling our programs off the air, that our programs will no longer be continuing. We will no longer be able to broadcast anymore. Now, they didn't say they're pulling us off because we heckled at the Israel Day Parade. They couldn't say that, because if they had said that, we would have been able to go to court against them. We would have been able to go to U.S. District Court against them, file a lawsuit, and win. They used an excuse, a technical excuse. They said they didn't like our affidavits. I don't even remember all the technical nonsense that one of the Arabs that worked there, they had Arabs and blacks. Only Arabs and blacks worked in that office. And one of the Arabs wrote this letter with all of this technical mumbo-jumbo, this nonsense that they don't require of anybody who has programs on cable. And suddenly they announced they're pulling us off the air the day after we heckled Hillary Clinton and the day after she called Virginia Fields to say we should be thrown off the air. And and everyone in that office knew about the phone call, and one of the people who was about to be fired in that office told us about it. And a Japanese girl who was one of the only non-Arab or non-black employees there, she told us about it. And eventually we confirmed it and found out about it. And we were thrown off the air because of Hillary Clinton's intervention. She personally intervened to have our show thrown off of cable television, to censor us, to muzzle us illegally, unconstitutionally. This is par for the course with the Clintons. This is the type of fascist, crypto-fascist tactics that the Clintons have always employed, the dirty tricks that they've always employed against their political opponents. Well, I got news for you, you beast, Hillary Clinton, you Jew-hating, Israel-bashing beast. We're going after you now. You're running for president. We're going to get revenge. We're going to do everything we can to defeat you, and God willing, we will defeat you. Join with us. Help us beat Hillary Clinton. Help us save America and Western civilization. Shalom.